Hello FTMKickstart. This week's topic is coming out. This is going to be a really long topic for me, so bear with me. I'm sorry if this video might be really long. So what I'm going to be going over is my entire coming out process, starting with coming out as gay and then having to come out as transgender. Let's start at the beginning. When I was 15 or 16, which is 2004, 2005-ish, I realized there was something different about me. And I accepted the fact that I liked females. So I decided that that meant I was a lesbian. So I started writing on a blog called Zanga, and I'm sure some of you remember having those things. And I made, a Zanga just for my gay life, and I met people on there, and I spoke to people on there, and started to tell my story on there. When I was probably 16, I went to take the SAT. So I was gone all day, and my mom needed to use the computer, and her computer was not working. So she got online, and she, opened the minimize tab at the bottom, and there's my entire Zanga, which was private, but because I was logged into it on my computer, it didn't matter. So she read the whole thing. So I didn't get to come out. I was outed by my mom, in my own words. I thought it was the end of the world when that happened. It was really bad. My mom didn't understand. My mom was a good-hearted Christian woman, took away my baggy pants, and, didn't let me watch any TV channels that might influence the gay, or whatever, like MTV and all that shit. But, soon after that she realized that none of those things were making me that way, and I was just gonna be this way. So then she began to accept it. My father lived in California since I was probably 13, maybe. It's kind of fuzzy, so I don't know. He moved to California, so my parents have been separated for a while. So, both my mom and my dad found out I was gay. My dad was way more accepting with it than my mom. My mom was pretty convinced it was just a phase for a really long time. About 4 years later, July 2009, I finally came out again as male to myself, and then started talking to just close friends that I had. Most of my friends at that time were queer or trans, so it wasn't like I was coming out to people and having to explain what I was coming out as. Most of them actually had called me out on it before I had even realized it, and it was almost like I was coming to apologize and being like, sorry, you're right. I'm sorry I argued with you. Around that time, when I first came out as trans, is when I met Maggie, my current partner. We were just kind of in the same circle of friends as I was starting to come out. And she's known me as male since we started dating. We dated about 3 months after meeting. Side note to that, I'm someone who's been, as a lesbian, I was in many relationships. It wasn't my first right around the block. And that's never something you like to hear when you get in a relationship with somebody. You're like, oh great, I'm not the first. But with her, I realized some things, and I made a point to tell her about it, was that this wasn't my first relationship, as Adrian, but this was my first relationship as Day. I hadn't dated a girl from the perspective of a man yet. I had only done it as also a female. So I knew the dynamics were going to be a little different, and I knew I needed her to bear with me because, I was pretty much starting on, training wheels and starting from the beginning again. So I kind of had to relearn how to date. She's bared with me this entire time, and she stuck by me diligently and patiently. I can't ask for anybody to be more supportive than she's been, really. She's been amazing. It's funny because she says all the time, when she met me, she thought I was well into my transition. She thought I was like 25. No, So at the time that I came out, I just started to work in a barbecue kitchen. I had just come out to myself, and then I got the job, so that was the first place that I told 2 coworkers, one of which was really, really flaming gay man. He was hilarious. And then there was another girl who worked there that was bi. So I felt kind of comfortable telling them that I also was in an alternative lifestyle situation. And both of them would stick up for me when I wasn't there. They would correct people. They ended up telling my manager, who approached me a little bit later, and actually ended up that he had taken like some gender study classes, courses in college, and it was something that really interested him. It was kind of like, it was just supposed to happen. Everything was just supposed to happen at the time it happened, because the more I started to approach people and tell them the truth, the more acceptance I received. It's never as easy as it sounds. You always are faced with the fear leading up to any kind of confrontation like that, that you're gonna not be accepted. You're gonna be completely dissed. Where I was working then, I ended up working out really well, and even though I didn't work there very well, my transness was not an issue. After I stopped working there, I started my apprenticeship a little bit later, which is where I'm at now, at a tattoo and piercing shop here in Athens. And I've been there for about 8 months, and the guys there, you know, pretty much told me when I started that they had never had a girl in the shop before, a female body person in the shop before, because they didn't want drama. They didn't want a distraction for the boys. They didn't want someone coming in gossiping, bringing in people all the time. They didn't want fucking drama. I totally understood that. I was like, look, I might be the first female body person who's worked here, but I can promise you I'm not gonna be like a girl. Workplaces, you know, they're 50-50. Sometimes everyone's just like, whatever, I don't care. And sometimes people are up your ass. I can't give any advice except don't put yourself through that unless you absolutely have to. Unless there's no other job and you're making awesome money or something like that, just don't do it to yourself. Okay, parents and siblings. I told my little sister, who is 6 years younger than me, so when I was 20, she was, 14, 15. I told her around that time, 2009, when I came out, August of that year. And she pretty much had already guessed it. She said I had always been like an older brother to her, and she caught on to the pronouns almost immediately. My parents were a little bit harder. My mom is a conservative Christian, but more in a hippie kind of sense than in like the anti-abortion sense, you know? So like she's got libertarian parts of her, politically speaking. She's kind of just a smorgasbord of hippie love, which is totally cool. But it took her a while to come around. When the gay thing finally blew over and she realized that my baggy pants and my TV channels weren't what was making me gay, and that I wasn't even gay, that I was, trans. I think, especially since lately, when I've been coming around her and she's seeing just how freaking happy I am now and how comfortable I am in my own skin as comparison to the rest of my life and the way I was acting then, I think she definitely gets it now. And I've always thought that that's what's really going to change most parents' minds, is when they see the final product and they see you happier and healthier and safe. A parent can't really ask for more than that. I can only say that I understand because I'm now a parent. And even though I didn't make the kid that I am a parent of, I can totally understand not wanting anything bad to happen to your kid. I ended up writing them individual letters. Like I said, my dad lives far away. He lives in California, across the country from me. So I knew that on my 21st birthday, I really wanted to be out. So, the week after my 21st birthday, I started writing, and I started making adjustments, and it took about 2 months to finally get everything I wanted to say and word it the right way. I just wrote, I typed it up, I sent my dad his in an email, and I just brought my mom's in a letter in an envelope. I went to visit her, and I just left it after my visit so she could read it. They both accepted it. They both kind of saw it coming, because I have been doing drag for a long time too, and I think a tranny can only do drag for so long before it's really obvious that they're just a tranny. And my mom is one of those moms that you can't really hide shit from. She just kind of sees right through you, and she's like, uh-huh. So the whole time I was doing drag, I was like, I'm just a drag king. I'm not gonna, start being a boy like all my other trans friends, because she had met the other trans friends that I had, and she thought it was a little weird. She's a loving woman, so she's still gonna be nice, and she's gonna, feed you and call you he because you got a beard, but she's still gonna probably be confused after you leave. Like I said, I think now that she's seeing me in such a happier state that she's really starting to catch on. Most of the time when I've gone to see her, she just calls me Adrian and doesn't tries to avoid all pronouns and just uses my name. But this last time she actually referred to me as he while talking about me to me, like a past conversation kind of thing. So that made me really happy. My dad, he's, when I sent him that letter and I talked to him afterwards, he said, you were my best man at my wedding, which was a year before I had come out. He got remarried. And, yes, I was his best person, and I wore a suit and tie, but, I was a drag king, and I've always just been the tomboy. So, it it was touching and confusing at the time for me to be that position in his wedding, but when I came out to him and he said that to me, you know, I just about cried because it clicked that my dad had already accepted me and had understood my transness before I even did. And, you know, he'll still tell me, you're my kid. Son or daughter, you're still my fucking kid. And, you know, you could grow an extra set of arms and I would still fucking love you. I might think you're a little weird. My parents have been amazing and I can't really fathom it sometimes. I ended up really blessed and really lucky. I'd like to maybe someday have my parents be the kind of parents who talk to other trans parents and, you know, share their stories and share their ideas. There's a book that I got both of them. I think it was called Understanding Your Transsexual Son or Daughter. I'll have to look it up and I'll try and find it. But I bought them both a copy and I gave it to them and I told them to read everything but the surgery chapter because that chapter is really scary sounding. And I wasn't planning on surgery yet. But I think that really helped explain my case too. Most of my family is up north and like spread out across the country and we were the ones that ended up in the south. So my extended family friend requests me on Facebook and finds out. I have people that are finding out still probably right now. And, you know, some of them add me and don't say anything. Some of them add me and then delete me or block me. Some of them just ignore it and never add me. But I haven't had a bad reaction yet. I've had people not say anything after I've told them. And I just took that as, well, I guess they don't know what to say because they don't agree or they think I don't exist. If they want to reach out and be like, hey, I accept you, that's cool. But I'm not going to go out of my way to be like, do you like me or not? And have them all shoot me down because that's just unnecessary pain. Especially when I don't really feel like I'm missing anyone in the first place. So that's just my take on that. Kids. Me and my partner have a 2.5-year-old. And she sees me as male. She calls me her day-day. As I transition, she's getting older. So she's not really remembering my changes because she's also changing. So it's kind of cool. It's like we're growing up together. I'd like to eventually sit her down and ask her what she would think if Day-Day had been born a girl. But I feel like right now she would either just laugh at me or be too shy to answer. But eventually, I would like to talk to her about it. To recap, in my coming out-ness, how did I come out and what did I say? The main gist is, you know, besides my parents, who I sent like a formal letter, I just straight up tell people I'm a tranny. I was born female, in a female body, but my brain is male. I feel like a boy. So, you know, past acquaintances that have been out of the loop for the past almost 2 years now, that I'll run into will be like, hey girl, how's it going? And I'm like, I'm a boy. That's how it's going. Make up some stupid thing like that, or be like, I'm just a tranny now. And because I live in a really liberal queer town, most of the people that I meet that do that are past acquaintances, are either queer, or an ally, or they're just open-minded hippie fuck, so they don't give a fuck. And for the most part, when there are ones, like I said, I just ignore them, because in the end, they're helping me not trust someone that's not worth it. The last thing I gotta say is how to handle bad reactions. Fuck them. There are gonna be bad reactions, you know. Just take the positive from it and then I get rid of it. It didn't happen overnight. The first year of me in this transition sucked, and I was really depressed. I did get put on an antidepressant, a mild one, for probably about 6 months, and that helped level me out a lot too. But now I'm not on anything, just testosterone, and really the best way to survive any of the situations that transitioning or coming out brings is positivity. Take all the positivity you can from every situation and use it as a lesson. Because there's enough negativity already, and there's enough of it being hurled at us as we speak. So, that's my coming out story. I hope I was able to assist some of you guys. Sorry this was so long, and have a great day. See you later.